Radio Network online and YouTube, and Fit FM 96.7 in Stewart Castle, Trelawney, Jamaica, or tune in on Linkage Radio online. So celebrate the heartbeat of Caribbean culture with Satideh Mawnin Runnings. Join us on Saturday at 10 a.m. on YouTube as we showcase the vibrant heritage of Jamaica and the wider Caribbean with 4 incredible women: Sherns, Max, Jacqui, and yours truly, Lady D. From powerful stories to cultural traditions, we're bringing the flavor, rhythm, and excellence of the Caribbean straight to you. It's more than a show. It's a celebration of the roots and traditions that inspire and unite us. Subscribe to Voices with Lady D on YouTube and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn to stay connected. Every Saturday at 10 a.m. it's Satideh Mawnin Runnings. Come feel the vibes. Satideh Mawnin Runnings, where Caribbean heritage comes alive. Ready for real talk and powerful conversations? Then subscribe to Voices with Lady D on YouTube, where culture meets commentary and the diaspora speaks loud and clear. Don't just scroll. Hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and tap the bell so you never miss a moment. From laughter to legacy, it's all happening here. Voices with Lady D, where every voice has power. Hey Trelawney, it's Lady D, reaching you straight from New York with love. Catch me every week on Fit FM 96.7 in Stewart Castle, Duncan's, Trelawney, Jamaica. It's Voices with the Lady D on Linkage Radio, streaming live on YouTube. Join me Monday for the Monday Drive from 5 to 7 p.m. and Friday for Center Stage from 5 to 7 p.m. And me just want to know who under the mango tree with them iPhone, iPad, and transistor radio, because trust me, you can't afford to miss the show. Music, vibes, and real talk every time. Voices with Lady D, where every voice has power. Stay locked in. Trelawney, me love you no bad. Caribbean family, gather round. This Saturday at 10 a.m., the Satideh Mawnin Runnings crew, Sherns, Max, Jacqui, and Lady D is going live with a topic that touches every single one of us. Caribbean parenting. Did it make us or break us? From the love to the licks, the discipline to the pressure, the pride to the pain. We're unpacking the childhood stories that shaped who we are today. We want your truth, your laughter, your memories, the sweet, the sour, and the Lord, me can't believe that happened. Don't miss it. Jump on the YouTube live stream right here. YouTube at Voices with Lady D. Set your reminder and tell a friend. 10 a.m. sharp, Satideh Mawnin Runnings is on.
And morning, Lady D. Howdy do, ladies. Good morning to you. How is it going in your neck of the woods?
It's bright and going over here.
Hey, it is
it's
going
bright
on.
And beautiful here.
Lord, Uh-huh.
What temperature you have there, Max?
Well, right now I'm into 60 something. I'm going up to 86.
All right, ma'am. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
Long sooner than grudge me.
we're
No, we
getting
don't.
there. If it
We
if it
are right behind you, love.
if it gets too warm, we won't be able to manage.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
know. I know.
Yes, yes.
It's
But
funny.
right now,
We've been playing upscotch with our eat and AC. I put AC on last week and one night this week. Now I'm gonna have to jump back to the
to
heat
the heat,
because it was cold.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, right now it's 55 and we are going up to a high of 62. 62 doesn't arrive until 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So see,
That's
Max, we're
good.
right behind you.
I
Uh,
see that. If when around pass, I will catch me.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
But it's a great feeling to be here this Saturday. We give God thanks for, bringing us together again. I hope you all had
Yes.
a good week. It was a busy week for many of us, but
Yeah.
we're there. And guess who is early this morning? I have to pop her up. Marie just popped in.
All right.
Good morning,
Wow. Good
Good
morning.
morning, Marie.
celebrities. Blessed Saturday morning. Oh, hello, Marie. Thank you. Thank you. We are here this morning, ladies and gentlemen. We'd like to welcome you to the show. This is Satideh Mawnin Runnings. We air Saturdays at 10 a.m. And we are the crew who keep you so engaged on a Saturday, whether you are walking, driving, you're doing your chores, whatever it is, where culture meets conversation. That's what we do. Can you imagine? And this morning, our topic is Caribbean parenting. Did it make us or break us? Somebody can just go right away. From the promo went out yesterday, somebody missed it. Somebody, I'm sure, said, Lord Jesus. And they thought of how they were parented. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe it is something positive or something negative. You
Yeah.
never know. And even today, parents are still parenting, and maybe they're getting it right, and maybe they're not getting it right.
Not true.
Mm-hmm.
To have a community that supports. So, if and when you find yourselves in a very challenging situation where you can't handle the task at hand, you can always reach out to somebody and say, Hey, I need help. Give me some tidbits, no? Or you can say, Would you like me to help you? Because it is working so well for me. So far, I really haven't had any dire situation, and you can even show off too. So we're going to talk. Hey, you
Of
Well,
can.
course.
the make or break part of it, both statements are true.
Mm-hmm.
It made us, and in some cases, it also broke us to some degree. However, it has built some amount of resilience. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We are made of sterner stuff. We find out we may
Mm-hmm.
have some emotional scars based on the upbringing, but
Mm-hmm.
invariably it has helped us and shaped us. So yes and no, yes and no
Mm-hmm.
to that. Yeah, we can have pros and cons all day long.
Cons all
Yeah,
day
All
long.
day long.
Yes.
Yes.
yeah. Mhm.
And as
Definitely.
as our guests are coming in, we invite you to pass the link on to someone. You know how to share, right? That little arrow that goes toops to the right. You just tap it and you see your pop up where it says copy link. You copy it and you paste it on WhatsApp, on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, you name it, whatever else they have that I'm not aware of, you can post it. You may go
Telling
ahead,
me about it.
Ah,
you may go ahead and
yeah.
post it there. So, ladies, co-producer, is not in our physical space this morning. He's out, but he says, "Look at the beauties." And where is Lady Jacqui? Oh, what a
Wow.
beautiful, yeah. So as he says, where is Lady Jacqui? Jax will not be
Yeah.
joining us this morning, but I know that she's saying, Lord, I wish I could join, but she can't join us
Yes.
this morning. But she'll watch.
Right.
She'll be watching. So good morning. And also we want to
The
say,
heart is willing, but the body not following
no,
up at all.
not pulling, not pulling.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm. So
Mm-mm.
Charles is here. Good
Yeah.
morning, the crew and the rest of the Saturday morning family. Good to be here again. And by the way, Charlesy
Thank you for joining.
Charlesy and Elder Duncan from our church, New Testament Temple, they are planning a trip to Sight and Sound on the 9th of May. So if there are persons here in the Bronx who would like to go to Sight and Sound, um, you can contact them. I'll pass the information on to Sight and Sound. Sherns, are you going anytime this year?
I'm trying to. I might not make it before the fall though.
Yeah, me too. I'm not gonna go on the trip, but we will go. We'll go.
Yeah.
We can. The group thing works. You go as a group and stuff. So we could do that. So
Yeah,
welcome
definitely.
everyone. Welcome. Let's start
That's
our
a good trip.
conversation. It's an awesome trip. Oh Lord. Always, always.
Hmm.
So,
Yes.
we know
Hmm.
that in the Caribbean, how we are, how we parent, it can make us or break us, as we say. You have you have the tough love debate, right? You have the
Mhm.
emotional silence versus emotional strength. You have the pressure to succeed, gender roles. You have the licks that you get.
Oh
Mhm.
Lord.
The-
Sometimes you deserve it, and sometimes you
you
don't.
don't,
Sometimes you
right?
don't.
And
Absolutely.
you also have
Absolutely.
Yeah.
the because I said so parenting style.
Oh Lord.
You also
Mhm.
have the hidden blessings, the things we had to unlearn. The funny side of Caribbean parenting too, because they can tell you about turning off the light because are the current expensive. So you have those. And
Yes.
you have the big question. Could you tell your Caribbean parents one thing today? What would it be? Hey, after experience. So, Sharnsy, what's your take? Let's kick it off and we invite
Oh
our
God.
audience to share in the chat, in the comment
Mhm.
section, you know, did the parenting style of your parents make you or
Right.
break? What you
Okay.
say,
So
Sean?
all right. So because I was raised by my grandparents, that is my point of reference. So
Mm-hmm.
I was taught to endure hardship and to adapt very quickly. Some of the comforts that other children had, TV and so on, in my formative years, I did not have that. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So that fostered, however, that fostered um, a great relationship with my grandparents, and they also was raising three other cousins in the same household. So now in these modern times, people struggle to connect with their children. They struggle to find common ground where they can have conversations. They struggle with even knowing who their child is. You know what I mean? You when it comes to being, say, at dinner time, you could have sit and have a conversation, tell stories, run jokes, and do things. That's a struggle now. Back in my time, it wasn't, because we had no distractions. There was no social media, there was no tablets and iPads and things like that. That is now taking away the attention of children. And
Mm-hmm.
invariably, the things your of my grandparents would tell me, They would go to the Bible a lot. They would tell the Bible stories. They would relate them in great detail as if they were there. They would put them towards their own, the way they understood it best. So they
Yes.
instill fear of God into us. You know what I mean? Along with teaching respect and discipline, because good morning, good afternoon, good night, that was non-negotiable. You couldn't go in a space with grown-ups and not acknowledge their presence. you know
Yes.
these days, you're in, sometimes you're in an elevator, you're in a room, a parent or parents may walk in, you probably are there for the same reason, and you're there, and they come in, and they don't say anything, they don't acknowledge your presence, so neither do the children. They just walk in as
Mm-hmm.
if they don't see anybody. They're holding a
No
door, and they
manners.
don't get through. Yeah, that is completely out the window at this point. When I look around and see, that was not a thing back in the day. Life was more simple. You took each day as it came. There were challenges, but we were taught
Yes.
to just overcome them. Self-esteem issues we didn't have, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's
Right.
just the case
Thank
what
you.
I'm thinking.
Thank you, Sharnsy and Maxie, because we're just doing our opening thing here. What say you?
Okay, so definitely I would say the way I was parented has made me. There are some things that could have been better, but of course, as you guys know that I'm a poet. I write a lot, and a lot of my poems depicts stuff that I experienced as a child growing up. But I was grew up too, like Charlotte. I was growing up with my grandmother, not my grandfather so much because he passed away very early. But my grandmother was the person I grew up with, and she didn't play. The licks were always present. The licks were one of the medicine, I would call it, that I received. And I wasn't a bad child. They just believed that licks cured everything. If it was a fever, it was a lick, and if it was pain, it was a lick, so to speak.
Ah,
But
oh
I do
God.
not regret the man in which I grew up. I do not. Because when I look at my life now and look back then, I said, maybe if I wasn't growing up the way I was, I would not be the superwoman I am today. One of the things always that I always embrace a lot is the fact that my grandmother taught me how to pray. Yes, she did. And I know if I was growing up with my mother, it wouldn't be the same. That's another thing. I know it would have been different. Because when I compare myself with my siblings, I see the differences all the time. But prayer was one of the things that she really and truly believed in and did all the time. She would pray a lot and she would say, we always kneel down to pray. We never stood up or stand up and in any position. It was always kneeling on your knees to pray. And once she prayed during worship, she would say, Maxine, pray. And I didn't know how to pray, but I listened to her. So that was how I learned to pray. And today, as an adult, I believe in it. I live by it. And I'm glad I learned how to. So that's one of the things that I learned. One of the things that I didn't get a lot of, which I also put in some of my poetry, is the fact that I was not hugged. I was not hugged. I was not told I love you. I didn't get any of that. And when I look at how families operate now and how kids are treated by parents, I'm like, they get a lot of hug, they get a lot of love. And I didn't get that too much. No, I didn't. So that's one of the things that I would see as the downfall or the negative portion of my parenting. Other than that, parenting for me was pretty good. It has made me very solid mentally and physically. Yes, it has made me very solid in the manner in which I think and the manner in which I do things and decisions that I made. So I do not regret growing up as in Jamaica. I really know that I would be different if it was a different environment or by a different person. Yes.
Yes, thank you, ladies, for sharing. For me, um, so I, my parents, their marriage broke up early. I was a very young child. And so I saw, I know my mother loved us. My sister and I know she did. They both loved us. In fact, my father used to call me Mummy because he loved me. I was the first child. But then, being so young, I was like maybe 4 or 5, and they wouldn't have arguments outright, but you could hear sometimes little mufflings and thing. And I was a very sensitive child. But
Mhm.
um, the marriage ended, and she was left alone with us. He left, right? He went overseas, and I give thanks every day because for a long time as a child, I all I could remember was seeing my dad going through the door with his big BOAC bag. So you know how long that was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I
um
remember that
and my
BOAC
mom
bag.
hanging on to him and crying.
Oh God. That's
Mhm.
some
So
amount of trauma right there.
yes, that, and
Yeah,
when she left, she showered us, and as she's showering me and my sister, she is on one bawling. She was just uncontrollably trying. As a child, you don't know about comforting and so on. But the blessing is years later, my great grandma said, "Hey, you have two grandchildren," to people we didn't know. And we end up going to penance. And I can say, thankfully, that I was raised in a different environment, a God fearing environment, where that memory slowly went away because now we came into a family that loved us and embraced us and nurtured us. And, here we are today. And I find that I will hug upon you, greet you. That's a part of my love language. I like physical touch, so I will reach out and hug people and all of that. So sometimes when there is an interception, something is intercepted, it can be for
mhm.
the better. So I can say that that part of my life did not come over into my present life and cause me to either see men as just being ruthless and bad and marriage and all of those things.
Right.
It didn't turn out to be negative for me.
Yes.
So when we are honest with ourselves, and that's a part of healing too, because when you accept that this wasn't your fault, um, you didn't have anything to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't find myself in a blame game where it was maybe us why he left, that kind of
Right.
thing. And now
Right,
years
because
Yeah.
later,
that is the reality for some people.
yeah,
That's the
hmm
reality for some. And sometimes even the parent will make the child feel like, well, if it wasn't for you, your father would have been
Right.
here. If it wasn't for
They
your
hmm
mother
make you
would
feel
be.
guilty. Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So, since it happened so early in life, then you were able to overcome it and find a little crevice to kind of bury it in, without any adverse effects on you
yes,
later
Right.
on in life, because that
And
could
and
have
especially
easily.
the fact that you moved out of the space, because that's another thing too, because a lot of
yes.
times space kills us because the memory is always sitting in your face. But if you move from
hmm
the environment to another environment, then of course it changes things.
It
So
changes.
that's a big
And
part.
you know how
Yeah.
many people are struggling today just to fit, to adjust, just to get past their past.
Yes.
Something
Yeah,
meted out
True.
to them by their parents.
yeah,
Yes. And I
yeah,
think that's
because
one of
if
the
it's
reasons why
trauma.
I write, not one of it is the reason why I write a lot, because I realize that when I document and when I put it out in writing, any adversity you would have had on me, because it's in writing and it's out there. I kind of feel more relaxed. It leaves my system, so to speak, just by documenting or putting it in writing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And with that,
that is your therapy, Max.
yes, absolutely.
That is
Um,
your therapy.
if it,
Yeah, because
if you
some
don't mind, I'd
traumas
love
are
to
not
share one of my
addressed.
poems. Yeah,
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
would just love to share this poem. As I said, a lot of my upbringing came out in my writing. In the part pieces, likewise, the English pieces from my book. So I'm reading from my book, Deep Thoughts, and this poem is entitled "Growing Up, I Remember When." Growing up, I remember when everyone bathed with the same washcloth. My cousins and I ate from one plate with one fork. I wore the same shoe to church every week. I even went to school bare feet. Growing up, I remember when it was rice with no meat, but curried cocoa. Still, it tasted sweet. Sometimes it was porridge for dinner. Isn't this the breakfast meal? Or maybe callaloo with no codfish. But for me, this was the finest dish. Growing up, I remember when a thistle from trees were my skipping rope, and a bough from coconut trees, my rowing boat. Green mangoes with salt was sweet, not sour. This was pure fun to sit and devour. Growing up, I remember when breakfast was sometimes lunch too, you see. Afraid I was for my friends to even know my needs. But now I look back in all my tracks and thank God I can totally relax. For things have changed. I am totally blessed. God has taken away all my stress. Thank you for letting me share. Growing up, I remember when.
Yes, that's
Those
Very
are
good.
real,
nice
true to
story.
life stories.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah,
And something, it's therapy for a lot of people when we come to this platform. Did you know?
Yes.
There are
yeah.
people
Mhm.
who, as they are going through their challenges and the nuggets we drop or we share our stories, they look at themselves and say, oh boy. So, Lady Didi got through that, and Max and Sherns. Every time remember Sherns and the principal who would drive by and don't
Yeah,
offer no ride.
Right.
yeah.
And I'll give you a ride. Yes.
And then beat me after. When we reach school late, she still beat me after for reach late. And you drive past me an hour ago.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
Mm-hmm.
can't go faster than you can go.
You can't
You're
go
only a
faster
kid.
with 2 little feet. You're talking
Mm-hmm.
about a child of 10 years old,
Mm-hmm.
9 and 10,
Yeah.
but
So
mhm.
we invite our audience to share. Drea has a note here, so let me see what that is. Pat is here. Morning, Pat. Good morning to you. All right. So Drea says, a few Sundays ago, I said morning to a young boy and he didn't respond. I repeated, still no answer. The person who was with me told his mother she finds some excuse.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
And the S2 was fun because she felt bad. You know
Yes,
that.
embarrassed. She was embarrassed.
Embarrassed. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah. I
are you
do
gonna
observe
read
that
more,
kids
Lady D?
nowadays that you can't say hello to them. They look stare in the face and never respond. That's how they are.
yeah. What you
Yeah.
said, Sharon Z?
No, I was gonna jump in and say something, but I was wondering if you were gonna read more comments.
Yeah, let me just do
Yeah.
that. Thank you. All right. Eval says, was being hugged and told I love you an uncommon thing back then. We knew we were loved by their actions. I too can't recall hearing I love you. And that is
Hmm.
true. They did
Yeah.
what they needed to do for you, but
Yes.
emotional um connection.
It was not
Something
That
there.
else.
that was not a part of my
It was
story,
not
I have to say.
right.
My grandparents told me they loved me all the time. Um, I was the youngest of four grandchildren they were raising, but they told me they loved me all the time. And in some instances, people would have say, you can't go along, a poil, a poil. You're a
Mhm.
spoiled child. I wasn't
Yes.
spoiled. I mean, I knew they treated me special. After me, they weren't going to take any more because they were already advanced in years. But that was never my thing. I knew I was loved. They told me. My mother would also tell me, because on account of the fact that she was not raising me, I guess she she wanted me to know, and she would sit me down often, and she would say, "You're not with me because I don't want you, or I didn't want you, or any of that reason." But once my grandmother had come to her and took me for a little while to say, "Well, you're going through a little thing right now. Let me hold the baby." My other sister was already, was a bit of, older than me. So she was not the one, as Jamaicans would say, holding you down or tying you down. I was the baby who just came along, tying her down, so to speak. And my grandmother said, "All right, let me just hold that one for you," supposedly for a couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
But it never ended. After, she just decided to, every attempt my mother would make to get me back, my grandmother would say no.
Mm-hmm. She
She
come
would
up with
say,
a
and then
reason.
and then because she turned around and had two others, so now she
Mm-hmm.
had three other girls. My granny would say, "Well, just give me that one, have the other one, them, give me this one, let me
Mm-hmm.
keep this one.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I was only too happy to stay, because I did not realize my grandmother was not my mother until I can recall things up to when I was, say, 5,
Mm-hmm.
vividly. Before that is foggy, obviously.
You're
But
right.
yeah, I did not realize when I started school and realized that I had a different last name, because my cousins were the children of one of my uncles. So they all had the same last name as my grandparents. But because now I'm on the other side where my mother, my father obviously had a different name. When I
Mm.
went to school, and all of a sudden, because they're Thomas, so their name is Thomas. So everybody was Thomas, Theophilus Thomas, Sarah Thomas, Glenn Thomas, Stephen Thomas, Pearl Thomas, Gerald Thomas. So I was Shirley Thomas as far as I know.
Mm.
And and the evening Sunday school at church, they had me as Shirley Thomas. So when I got to school, and all of a sudden I'm Shirley Mignot, I'm like, who is that?
Mm.
And I remember I
You know her.
cried when I found out that my grandmother was not my mother. And then my mother would say, "I am your mother." And I would say, "No, no, you're not."
So there's a bit of confusion there.
Yeah, I mean,
Confusion,
I
yes.
laughed at it, no, but I thought she was annoying. She was beautiful, like I always said. She was glamorous. She was always well put together. And because my cousins call her auntie, rightfully so, because she's their aunt, I
Yeah.
ended up calling her auntie. And later on in life, I said, "Why didn't you stop me from calling you auntie?"
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm
Mm-hmm.
calling my grandfather daddy. I'm calling my grandmother mum, short for mummy. And I'm calling
Sharon,
you, you know what I mean? So,
Right.
so
Sharon,
that's part also of our growing up, where some of us we didn't feel that closeness with our
Yes.
with our parents or
your
maybe
real mother.
others.
But Sharon, I have to jump in here because I'm here
Go ahead.
nodding and grinning my teeth because of what you're saying. Because you and I have a few things in common very well, and that's one of the problem Israel had too. I grew up with my grandmother, just like you did, and I didn't thought of the fact that she was my mother, but I didn't really know who my mother was. My mother was living in the district in a different house with some other guy who, her
Right.
husband who became her husband after the fact. And I didn't know that she was my mother. I called her aunt. I used to say Aunt Eunice, and long after me discover, hey, that's my mother. Because nobody
Gee.
explained to me that this is your mother. It's funny because
Mm-hmm.
before that, in the younger years, I remember her and I being in Kingston. I was the older one, and my sister who was the baby. She was carrying my sister in her hand. Mother dressed like a pussyfoot. And never forget, she had on a yellow dress, heels and stockings. We were taking
Yeah.
the Joyce bus. Never forget. And I peed on myself. Never forget that either. And because Kingston busy, and she have the baby in her hand, no stroller, no nothing, and she has to be holding my hand. But then when my grandmother took me and I to set from Kingston into St. Mary, and I'm living with my grandmother, I'm seeing this woman here, not recall that is my mother. Didn't know she was my mother. Me, I refer to her as aunt Eunice, aunt this, aunt all the time. And then further down in the years, when I got a little older, I realized, hey, that's my mother. But I was referring to her as aunt. And it
Yes.
took me a while. It took me a while before I started saying, referring to her as mama or mom, mother or whatever I used to call her.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
as far as I'm concerned, my grandmother was the only person I knew. So you see,
yeah.
we have some similarities right there. Because back
Mm-hmm.
then, nobody explained to you anything. You already know, I've never met my father, don't know anything about him. And that was how I grew up. Everything was just covered up, hushed, and you weren't supposed to ask questions because you're a child. You
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
understand? So, I have a similar situation. So, those
yeah,
are the parts that I regret in terms of growing up. And the fact that I didn't open up and ask questions like I would want to, because of
Mm-hmm.
course you're supposed to be quiet as a child, and which is wrong in parenting. You should allow your
yeah.
kids to ask questions, whatever that question is.
Girl,
Don't be
no,
afraid
that
to
that
listen
never keep. That
and
never
respond.
keep. They're not taking it. Some families they weren't taking any questions. I
Mm-hmm.
grew up with
Ah,
several children too that they don't know their father usually, and
Yes.
when they ask, some of them pick up a box. Oh yeah, fresh with, who yeah, bright with,
Mm-hmm.
which is, I mean, that is
Yes.
completely unacceptable.
yes.
But that was the reality of some. And I mean, for me, my mother took great pains to convince me that she was my mother. She would
Mm-hmm.
even come in front of the mirror and look at me and say, look, you look like me, pointing
Mm-hmm.
out similarities. And I couldn't see it. I would say, no, I look like mom. I look like mom.
You were you were stuck there. You were stuck there, so Shernsy.
I
But you
was,
know,
yeah,
and
yeah.
so this whole parenting thing, th- no matter how many books they write,
Oh, please.
this is a personal journey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Everybody.
it is.
And
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
people who are having children who have had good experiences or bad experiences, it is what you pass on. You may not think that's what you're doing because it became a part of you. You
Mhm.
adopted it and you figured that if it worked for me, it is going to work for you as my child.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And so, even when it came on to hard discipline, where some children were flogged severely,
Yeah.
or you
Mhm.
were put out at nighttime because maybe you forgot to do a chore, there have been some really hard stories that people have shared.
Yes.
Yeah, but you know
Um,
what? I don't get it when, but then again, it work both ways because for some parents, because of the fact that they grew up, as they say, in the school of hard knocks. So they got flogged, for the least little thing.
Yes.
They got punished. They all, it's always it's cruel to like withhold food from a child
mhm,
because of an infraction. It is cruel to put them outside or put them in a position where they are afraid. I
mhm.
know a family that the father was so overly, I don't even know what to call it. He would beat the boys and tie them up in a ant's nest when him done.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
not
He would
right.
beat them and break up the ant's nest. I think he kept an ant nest in the yard for that purpose. And he
mm-mm,
would tie them in the ant's nest so he bite them up after.
mm-mm.
So sometimes you have parents that's how they grew up, and
Yes.
Overdo it.
the children, for some
Mhm.
reason, they feel like if that's how I came up, that is how you're coming up. So although they hated it,
Yeah.
although their mind, it didn't do them any good, not much, they still feel like you won't feel it because I felt
I
it. So
felt it too.
Yes.
Yes,
I'm
and
just saying,
Yes.
that is so wrong because what it also does, you develop an emotional silence.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
You hold it in, you dare not react. Today
mm-mm,
children are
Mm-hmm.
speaking up and all kinds of things, but because it was between children, the commonality was just so present.
mm-hmm,
Most
Yes.
people discipline their children in a particular way that even if you said
Yes.
to one of your peers that Papa tie up Johnny in an ant's nest, The other one will say, well, this is what mama did do to my
Mhm.
siblings. So there was
Right.
no, there was no little room, no wiggle room to
Mhm.
say one of them would perhaps say, imagine your mother do that
Right.
or
Yes.
your father do that, because to them
Everybody agreed.
it was the norm. But
Yeah.
we asked the
Mm-hmm.
question too, was the discipline necessary or did it go too far? And here we are saying it went too far. So
It
that
went too far.
would
Yes.
break anybody. That
Yes.
would
Yeah.
break a person.
It went too far.
Way
I
too
don't know if
far
any of you
sometimes.
grew up with that statement, but there was a thing parents would say a lot. When I talk, no dog bark.
Dark, yes.
Yes.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
That means I'm right all the time. Don't come at me with
Yes.
questions. Don't ask me anything. Whatever I say is law. Pretty much that's what
Yes.
they meant.
Yes.
Like
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
can't make mistakes. If that's what I think or that's how I interpret a situation to be, then
Mm-hmm.
that's what it is. Because when children get to teenage years, when they can now formulate their own opinions or express how they feel, they
Yeah.
might want to have a conversation, but they would just say, well, when I talk, no dog bark.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
finished.
Yes. So you just leave it at it, even though sometimes sometimes you as a kid know differently. And sometimes what you know and what the answer that you have is better than what they have, but
Yes.
you're not able to
Yeah,
open your mouth.
you
Mm-hmm.
can't
I
say it.
recall when I was growing up too, I used to wet bed. And this is one of the things that bothers me as an adult when I look back. I used to wet bed. And now every time I wet the bed, I would get beaten. Nobody ever thought to say, I wonder something wrong with Maxine. I wonder she have weak blood. I wonder something is wrong with her. But that was not the thought. They tell you must get up and use the chimney.
Mm-hmm.
How come you wet the bed and no matter how much beating you get, you're still doing it? Obviously, something was wrong, and nobody tried to find out why or how. They
Yes.
Right.
just beat you because you keep wetting the bed. And
Mm-hmm.
every time I look back, I say, but something could have been wrong with me. I know I was afraid. I used to be afraid of the dark as a child growing up. I'm very afraid of the dark. So once the light goes out and you see stuff hanging on the wall and you see something hang up, lean up in the corner,
Yeah.
you start thinking a dumpy and something to hurt you. So there's no way you're getting out of that bed to go about here, use no chimney. So I
Yes.
would just lie right there and pee and purposely, even
Mm-hmm.
though I know I'm gonna get the beat the next morning, but I'm afraid.
Yes.
But nobody ever, as adult, they never thought of it. But another thing too, guys, my grandmother could not read, and I can't blame her for that. But when I look back now and think about the whole situation, that's another reason why they treated her the way she behaved the way she did, or was just strict and beat for everything. Because when a person is not able to read and write and reason things out, there's no way you can make conscious decisions all the time. You're gonna make silly decisions. And so when I look back, I said, well, I understand now. Yes, I understand now as an adult. Now that I'm educated and I look back, I realize why. So, I can't, she's not here anymore. May her soul rest in peace. And we
Mm-hmm.
can't kill them for what they did. We're just happy that we're here and that we survived it.
Have you survived? That's what it is.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank God that our experiences have not gone to waste.
Mm-hmm.
It has
No.
benefited us in more ways than one. And then the flip side to all of that too is that some parents become, because of their harsh challenging upbringing, lick
Yes.
for that, box down for that, punishment for that, things
Yes.
withheld from you for minor infractions and so on. When they become parents, they are extremely lenient
Mm-hmm.
to the point now where the
You
coin
can
is on
spoil.
the other side, and the children, them just do whatever. And because you want to be their friend, and because you feel like, I have to show them I love them,
Yes.
you have no guardrails for them whatsoever,
Mm-hmm.
although you had
True.
many
Mm-hmm.
for yourself growing up.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
know,
so what it does, it gives room to those children to be more bold. They
Mm-hmm.
feel, because we say that people spoil pickney, and that's also another another parallel to those
yeah,
who would give a good whipping uncalled for, but to them when they're giving you the whipping, and if you're not crying, they lay it on some more
Go harder, yes.
You're
to
going to
the
lay down until
right
you cry.
until you cry. And then there are the parents you make reference to now who they end up spoiling children. Some the
Yes.
discipline, though it may not be physical, is really non-existent. They give them room
Yeah.
to be themselves and to do what you want to do. And then they will say to somebody who sees the train running away,
Oh, yeah.
say, well, my parent mother did so and so, and me not do that to my picnic,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Not realizing that discipline comes in different ways. So
Absolutely.
whether they knew box down, lick down, ants, ants nest,
And thump up.
and thump up.
When they get bigger, them start get. Oh,
Yeah.
oh
But
God.
I think though how we were parented has a lot to do for many people who we are today, no
Mhm.
matter what you think.
Yes. Yes.
Because when
Mhm.
we couldn't speak up as the hurt sat in our hearts. It
Mm-hmm.
either made us stronger or it made us emotionally guarded.
Oh yes, because
Yes.
we
Oh,
learn how to
yes.
suppress our emotions.
Right?
You
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
suppress it.
Keep it right
Them
down
tell
there.
you
Yeah.
be strong. So
Right.
you probably end up not being somebody who express their feelings.
Indeed. And so we
Right.
say now we could ask the question, how did you learn to express love as an adult after not having that experience
Yeah.
growing up?
Very good question. Very good question,
Yeah.
Lady D. Very good question. Because personally speaking, I, after not getting that kind of love or hugged or anything growing up, when I came to this country and I work with families and I saw how they behave or they reacted or they lived, that was where I learned it. The son would come on Friday because I work with a Jewish family, and they would gather every Friday evening for dinner as family. The son and his wife and kids would come over, and then the younger son who lived on his own, wasn't married yet, would come over, and the mother would hug him and kiss him. Oh, Jonathan, and they would just hug and love each other. They all had keys to each other's home. That's how they
Mm,
lived. So
mhm,
I could be in the house and I hear the door open and look, is the daughter walking because she has a key to the mother's house. And that was how they lived. And they hugged a lot. And I
mhm.
admired that and I adopted that. I know I hug people. I do a lot of hugging now because I
Yeah.
didn't get it. And therefore I see the need to give it and to receive it. I
Mm,
love being hugged. That's me. And
yeah.
I learned all of this from working and seeing how other families have operated, just being in this country.
Hmm. I'm a hugger. So here co-producer is saying in primary in primary school a teacher wanted to adopt me. I went and told my mother. I wouldn't have minded being adopted, to be honest. My mother was furious. And so the teacher says, she think your puss picked
Yeah,
me up.
with me.
Oh, that time
Now,
that time him well won't go.
in well one go.
Okay,
And
you want
you
to
know,
hug.
no, so listen here. Because sometimes, if children will start to formulate in their thinking, in their minds, what they know to be good and what they know
Mm-hmm.
is not good, or and they can't change their circumstance. But like our producer here now, so it's a lot of them,
Mm-hmm.
and he wouldn't mind getting little perks because he knew the kind of life that he saw, what he want, what
Mm-hmm.
he know him not comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so here is the teacher extending. No, most of these teachers, would take children home and have them and do little chores for them and this and that. But that aside,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
if 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 his mother had handed him over, who knows what life would be like? Maybe he wouldn't be the person he is today, or maybe it would not have been a good thing.
Yeah.
Maybe you would meet Denise.
And he would, there you go.
Well, undoubtedly. But you know,
Yes.
that was a common occurrence in my area that I grew up in, because you would have families that had multiple children. There were two families, well, more than one, but two or three families that stands out in my mind to this day. Those mothers would, and it was two parent families, all three families had mom and dad in. The mother would
Mm-hmm.
have a child every year.
Oh Lord.
Every year there were stair steps every year. And so in those situations, usually, if they would say this one looked promising, so Eval, you probably did look promising. Look promising means that you show some potential. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
You may,
Yes.
your intelligence might be shining through. You have an aptitude for something in particular that you probably don't see yet, but
Mm-hmm.
they think is something to
Right.
be nurtured. And you had a lot of teachers who were spinsters. They
Yes.
were, I said, we
Right.
were
Yeah.
spinsters, and they would see these children, and not just teachers. You had other people who would just take children because
Mm-hmm.
they look at the
Yes.
mother and the father and say, look, you have a whole jing bang of them. So let me take this one. Like Lady D says, sometimes the child get to an age where they can assist in chores.
Yes.
So they would say,
Right.
give me this one because him can't help. They're not gonna say you can't help me, but one
Mm-hmm.
hand wash the other. The kid
One
will be able to
hand.
help about the house. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then they would then
Mm-hmm.
be able to provide for them in a way that the parent is currently not able to provide for
Not
them. And
able
they
to.
would say,
Yes.
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
they
That
would
was
say,
very
give me this
common then.
one.
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
then, and I know of cases where children were handed over. Back in the days, no papers. You just say, all right, take him, go on up on his suit, that's and go and go, go on. And when you go behave yourself, no
Yes. No
shame.
papers. True.
Yeah,
Yes.
no
And the
shame,
way then tell you.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and they would send the child, and the child would. I mean, I know people, I know persons in that grew up with me in my neighborhood, age of my age now, who did they know it's their parent, but they were handed over,
Yes.
like in the
Mm-hmm.
primary school
Mm-hmm.
level,
Mm-hmm.
and that family was able to take care of them,
Mm-hmm.
send them on to higher education. They know that's my family, living in that section. But because I was raised up here, then
Mm-hmm.
that's what happened. And they have lived good life,
Yes.
that they probably would not have lived or been able to receive on account of the fact that they were moved from their current situation.
That is true.
Yes.
Thank you, Sherns.
Believe it or not.
Good morning,
Sorry,
Paula. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say this quickly. Believe it or not, my grandmother told me that one of the reasons why she took me from my mother and grew me up is the fact that my mother was married to an Indian, and this who is not my father. And she said she was afraid that he would not treat me right because I'm not his child.
Oh.
So she took me from a
Mm-hmm.
little bit and said, okay, you can't live with him because that's not your father. And that's how I ended up with her. That's what she
Okay.
explained to me
That's what
as a
and I
child then.
think she was trying to protect you, maybe.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yes, that
yeah.
too.
But as
Yes.
we're talking here now, so you have the family, so you have the parent who will discipline physically, emotionally, thing. Then you have those who will pressure their children to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So
Mm-hmm.
come high hell water, if I am an attorney, if me a
Yep.
barrister, you're gonna have to be a barrister
Mhm.
too.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
Doctor, lawyer, Indian chief, whatever, you're
Mm-hmm.
going to do it. And sometimes the pressure push to make them become great can also burn them
Mhm.
out. So
Yeah.
Yes.
a lot of people today will tell you they either ended up in a profession they really don't like, or they were pushed so much that they resented their
Mm-hmm.
parents.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, man, that happens. That
Mhm.
happens a lot, and
That's common. Yes.
resentment. There's usually some amount of resentment because you see what it is. You have it's all about the legacy, you may have
Mm-hmm.
a family that they are accomplished, and they can look down the line, maybe three
Mhm.
generations or so, and they will say, well, William Smith, the Smith them is known
Yes.
to be such and such, and you have to keep up with the family, keep up the family name. You don't
Tradition.
want to be the, yeah,
Yes.
you don't want to
Mhm.
be the black sheep.
Mhm.
None of we never done such and such yet. All of we
Right.
are such and such.
Yes.
Yes.
So now you have that burden that you're carrying. It may not be your gifting, it may not be your calling,
You're right.
but in order to let what them call it now, just let it go, and go along with.
Mhm.
You just say, well, okay, all right. And some people, they go along with it for the length of time that it takes for them to be able to then say no.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Right.
then the first
Mm-hmm.
chance they get, they drop it. You see people who became even doctors moving away from that profession to something that,
Something else.
is
Yes.
completely
Yes.
different. So
Going
they
to
had they
something
had
that
the,
they want to
yeah,
do.
they were able to, but it wasn't their first love. It
Mhm.
wasn't their calling. It's not something that
So,
they could see themselves. Oh God. Oh Cheval.
You want the flush toilet? I think all of us wanted that.
Yeah, see,
Emma said me did want use flush toilet.
I can't teach. I did have flush toilet, so if him go live with her, him I get flush toilet. Oh God.
Lord Jesus.
I'm laughing. It's funny that the things that we craved as children growing up, those were simple things that kids nowadays
Mhm.
don't even care because they don't have the experience that we had anyway of what we
Yeah.
used back
Let me
then. But
tell you, man,
it's funny
they
that we
have no
crave those
idea.
little things. They were simple things, but we craved them because we
Mhm.
wanted to experience it and we never
Right.
had it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I
yeah.
understand that part.
Oh Lord.
There was a family that didn't live too far from us. This one, the family that the mother had a child every year. It was a lot of them. And
Mhm.
I used to watch them, and I would go down and play with them and stuff. But then when I went back home, I would be the only little one in the home, because my cousins, they were all older than me. The youngest one was still 8 years my senior. So, and he was a boy, so it's like him, I got play dolly house with me and all and something there. So when I would
Hmm.
be there home, one day I said to my grandmother, Lord, me wish I did whole heap of we like such and such. And my grandmother say, yeah, idiot, see all them in a poverty. All them clothes tear up, and then can't manage. We don't want to have too much. She said, look how much something you have all by yourself. But my reason for saying that was because I wanted the company.
Company.
Company,
Because
yes,
I used to have to end up
yes.
up here with my grandparents. Then me I do tea party with my grandfather. So I did all this stuff. Pretend saying so and so. I mean, if you use rock stone for me dolly and all them things, I was the only one. Oh
I
my
love
and,
it.
to,
God.
and, talk to, and talk to tree. Talk to tree. I think that's because
And talk
I
to
played
tree.
alone too.
Me
I
used
had
to
that
pick
problem too when I was
me,
growing up because I
yeah, me
never had
used to pick
anybody. It was
leaf
just
of
me and my
life.
grandmother. And
Yeah, I use
yeah.
the leaf of life, make children, you pick off the leaf, and you say they have hands and feet, and you put them for sit down. Me used to do that because I wanted company so bad.
And I
Yes,
can I
I
can
know what you're
imagine.
talking about. I had that issue too because
Well,
I was
that
the
was
only grandchild with my grandmother. So
that
I
was
had
the
a problem
opposite.
too. Me understand how play the minchi crab. Sometimes me upsetting like you into your dolly playing
Yes.
house thing. You're in that mode and in that mental thing. And you cook your dinner and you greet a piercing for carrot juice and all them
Yes.
stuff there. And them
Yes,
a
man.
call if you come to
Prepare seed for
chores.
carrot juice.
And dirt for rice.
Yes.
Well,
Oh
the difference the difference
Yes.
for me is that I was raised in a household with a ton of cousins,
God.
being
Okay.
being the eldest. But we we would play with each other. We run through the house. We had chores. And of course, you build relationships outside of your home. So we all gone to different places at some point in time in the community.
Okay.
And I tell you, I had Gigi across the street. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so we would go over Gigi, or you gone on a back road, round a Sheila and Marvet up the road, that kind of thing. So, and Paula
Yeah.
can tell you because Paula know my family. And so we um we never had time to say, I'd like to be quiet by myself, because we were just so much away in
Mm-hmm.
this house. And
You're
as
glad to get away.
yes, sometimes you want a breather, right?
Right.
But we had so much fun. One of the foundation, the main part of my upbringing was my grandmother and her
Mm-hmm.
faith in God. And she left that legacy for us, that we should
Yes.
give our
Yes.
lives to Christ, to live right, not trouble people. I tell people, if
Yes.
me and anybody end up in anything, it's maybe because somebody trouble me. I may have to say, hey, stop
Right.
trouble me. But I don't trouble
Right.
people. I don't go out of my way to bother people. That's
Mm-hmm.
not my thing. But
Yeah.
she
Same
taught
here.
us about family. We knew about family worship, even when sleep and knock you left, right, and center in the early morning.
Mm-hmm.
She starts singing, and the more she sang, is the more you feel bad that
So
you
you have to
really
get out
need
of
to.
bed.
And then for the younger ones, she would start calling names. The older ones, now she just drop her something, and them have to kind of find themselves out there. But family worship was a thing. And mama was a disciplinarian, but she didn't beat. She leave that to her children to do to us. But she was very fair. And I think I'm like that. I'm fair. I'm able to decipher things and be fair minded about it. Um,
Right.
yes, she would speak her mind. She would tell you what she feel, and in the next sentence, she love you same way. But she was
Mm-hmm.
also very affectionate. She would hug us. She couldn't use cold water because she had malaria as a child, younger person, malaria fever. So something she couldn't do, and so we took turns to go. Oh, remember ponds? Well, not ponds. She had
Pond's,
ponds, but she
Pond's
had
cold cream.
yeah,
On screen.
Oh
but
yeah,
she
Pond's
also
On
cold
had
screen.
cream.
yeah,
Yes.
she also
I can
had
still smell it. My mother used to use Pond's.
yeah. Here, Paula.
Yes.
Yeah, Paula.
Your
Remind
face cool
us.
and nice.
Paula, I didn't even remember this part, but Paula is reminding us that she used to work for us. See there now. But yeah, Mama would when she have her bath, and so you go and you set the water. So all of those things you learned how to also care for somebody. So,
Yes.
you would help her with her
Absolutely.
water to set her bath, and then you have to lotion her back. And I just used to love lotion her back and comb her hair. And
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I did that for my
yes,
grandmother.
she had
I never
nice
really lotion
hair.
because
As you talk,
lotion
as,
wasn't available at the lotion, no, but
as you're talking
never
about,
we never have lotion girl who like the lotion back. But I remember coming my grandmother here and she used to have dandruff and she said, come scratch me dandruff for me. And she loved that. Then while you scratch, she fall asleep. But one of the
Mm-hmm.
things that I enjoyed growing up, and I'm glad I had the experience of growing up in the Caribbean or in Jamaica, is the fact that I learned to use all the ways we made food. I learned to use wood fire. So I know learn to chop wood and make the fire, even though sometimes it's done the cursing I don't like the fire. I learned how to use the coal pot, yes, and from
Mm-hmm.
the coal pot to the oil stove, and from the oil stove to the gas stove. So all those things, as a Caribbean person, I'm glad I had the experience of learning and doing. So as an adult or as an older person, if I had to go back to that, it wouldn't be anything strange or different because I've learned them all and used them all.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's another thing that I pride myself in.
Yeah. Yeah. So here, Eval says, same. So, Ambassador Sherns, I know teachers who were surrogate parents.
mm-hmm,
Aunt G, is this mom? Plat
got to
green
be.
grass and tie ribbon. Oh, that's who?
Yes.
It's got to be mom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Jacqui, mom.
And pretend it was a doll.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah.
did
I
that in
remember
school. Yeah.
plaiting the grass for true. Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
I did that.
Andrea
Mhm.
asking if Pon's still around.
Well, we should check. It probably is. I would get
Yeah.
one just because I'm
Mhm.
gonna check.
Yeah. My first doll was a rubber one that had no
No,
hair.
no here.
Yes. But you know how we were parented, boy, because also, if we were to talk about the gender roles, boys told don't cry, girls told learn to cook and clean.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. Oh yeah.
Yes.
That was one thing that was of paramount importance.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the
Girls
cleaning.
were taught, yeah. I mean, God has so made us that we gravitate towards what we would call the domestic situations.
Mm-hmm.
We just gravitate towards it. Nobody not really, you will find, say you want to learn to bake. If somebody in a family bake, like how Jacqui bakes because of her grandmother, or if the person was a seamstress, you probably would want to learn that, or in an effort to make you well rounded, they would make sure
Right.
you can cook and clean. You know how to do certain things. They would call you in if you were, or when they get to a certain age, they didn't want the girls to be what they call tomboys. So if
Mm-hmm.
you
You're
were out
right.
of housing running around, they would call you inside and say, watch me do such and such.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yes.
know
So
mothers
you could learn to do it.
yeah, and I know mothers who had no daughters, so they did it to the sons. They say, well, if you take up one woman, or get nobody, you must have to take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So
And, and 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 I don't think parents these days are doing stuff like that. I doubt that they are. But I
I
also
don't
remember
think
when my
so.
grandmother used to iron my uniform. I was 14 years old, and one day she was at the iron fire makeup on outside in the front of the yard, and she was on the veranda with the iron board across the banister ironing, and she said, "Come here, Maxine." And when I showed up, she said, "Come watch how me go iron the uniform, because as of next week you're gonna be doing it yourself." So she
Mm-hmm.
showed me how to set the pleats and how to, because back then you're wearing tobacco uniform with starch.
No,
So you
Lord.
better learn to set them pleat and
Oh
press them.
yes,
So she showed me how.
Mm-hmm.
oh yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I hated the tobacco uniform, so put it on the mash up
The mashup.
until we
So,
graduated to garbadine,
yeah. So
which was
let's
much
now
better and easier to handle.
let's talk. Good morning, Faith. Howdy. So let's talk now about modern day parenting.
Yes.
Now, you have parents who benefit from their children's bad choices because they
Mm-hmm.
turn a blind eye, whether the child doing a hustle and brings money into the home.
True.
We could ask if it's survival or it's exploitation,
Hmm.
because those things happen. And that's
Yes.
Yes.
modern day parenting. So, how we draw the line between supporting your child and enabling wrongdoing.
And that's
Yes.
why some of them are now in prison.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking the children alone, the
Absolutely.
parents as well, because notice here now in this country, they have now made it a law where if your minor child is found to be in possession of a firearm, particularly
Or
inflicting,
drugs.
yeah, but I'm talking about mainly the ones whose parents recently, as a family is experienced that, where the parents were sentenced to prison
For
because
charge. Yes.
the father bought the gun for the child, and he
Mm-hmm.
just
Yes.
fool with it and shoot up the place, kill two, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and now they're gone to prison as well. And then there was another family prior to that one
Mm-hmm.
who is facing similar things. So sometimes turning the blind eye does not work whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Good for
No.
nobody at all. You are responsible to having brought the children into the world. They come in as a blank slate.
Yes.
And in as much as parenting does not come with a handbook where we're not given, you can, yes, get material and seek out literature that may give you pointers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, or
And
talk to your
yeah,
parents.
right. And God give you know, the ability to have discernment or some amount of capability. But at the same time, you know, you can't just let your children loose just so.
Loose. Mm-hmm.
And you have to
No,
recognize that they're not always right, no matter how cute the child is, no matter how beautiful. You can't just let them
or how
loose
smart.
Yes.
or how
Mm-hmm.
smart they are. Because you know what I tell people, you know, I said you can shelter your child all you
You
want.
want.
At some point in time, they're gonna have to enter the community at large.
Mm-hmm.
You can
Yes.
send them to all the private schools you want. You can
Mm-hmm.
buy them their exclusive stuff and lock them up in the house all you want. This when they get to college age and beyond and reach the work
Different
area,
story.
forget about it. All
Mm-hmm.
the guardrails are over. I
Oh.
remember one family when my daughter went to school, went to college. There was a family who lived upstate, and the daughter was raised very hands-on, very you know, very sheltered. And
Mm-hmm.
I knew the aunt, and the aunt said to me, "Oh my goodness, you know, she's gonna go to the same college as your daughter, so and so. Let me talk to my sister and see if she want her to be like a mentor to her and all of that." And then my daughter had become an RA, so you know, she was living in the same dorm. And they asked her, and I said to my daughter, you know, this girl is sheltered, and you know, she's not used to X, Y, and Z, so keep an
Mm-hmm.
eye on her, put her under your wing, so and so. And after like about 2 months, I said to my, I said, how is such and such doing? She said, Ma, I had to let that girl go about her business.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because she said all of the raves, you know, the parties, the raves that they throw that are not
Mm-hmm.
authorized. You just get a bunch of alcohol and like-minded friends and
Yes.
you just have a rave.
Mm-hmm.
She said she's at all the raves, she's drinking, she's trying this, she's doing. I said, no, man. I said, the
Get
same
a
girl.
chance to bust out.
Yes, that our mother is saying no. So when she go home on a bi-weekly basis, she's docile. And so she said, let me tell you, she said she's doing things I'm not even thinking of doing. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, you know, in an effort to shelter and protect your child or children from the world, the real world, as we would call it, you
Mm-hmm.
overcompensate. And when they go in the because they have to enter the real world at some point, they
Yes.
can't. It is
Yes.
a sink or a swim. Most time them sink because it came at them fast. They
Mm-hmm.
weren't
Mm-hmm.
able to approach it in a way where they got it, as I would call it, in small doses.
That's
Yeah,
true.
moving to it
They just
gradually.
push
Yes.
upon them, and then you have the
Yes.
peer pressure come in, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a mess. It's a mess.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
Errol says not much is said about fathers. Mine died when I was but 3 years old. So most of my influence on God, bless her, was from my mother.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That is
Me
true.
too.
Yes. Now, thank you for sharing. Now, also, if we should look at the pressure to provide, some parents feel ashamed they can't provide, so they accept whatever the child brings home.
Hmm.
And,
Yes.
is this a symptom of poverty, pride, or desperation? And we could ask, how does this pressure shape the child's identity and choices? Because sometimes they make bad choices. They see
True.
and hear, they see the poverty and
Mm-hmm.
what can't be provided. They hear the
Mm-hmm.
parents saying they don't have no work, them no get no work today. Miss Matty said me can't come and wash today. And whatever it is, no money, no come home. And before you know it, these children will take it upon themselves to say,
They
help,
themselves.
help.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they start
And
doing
in
the
some cases,
things.
believe it or not, some cases sometimes so it's greed. Sometimes some parents they have enough they can
Yep.
provide and all is good, but they just want more.
Mhm.
So they
But
don't care
look,
if a child goes out there to get
yeah.
more.
Yes.
If your teenager is coming home with money, with stacks of money, are they buying things that you know they can't afford? You don't afford it. So certainly they don't afford it. Them have sneakers out the wazoo, and these sneakers cost upwards of what? $200 and $300, and them have jackets, and them have these kind of bags and all kind of accoutrements. You know them not afford, and you don't say anything about it. Where you think it's coming from? It has to be ill-gotten gains.
Yeah.
I have a coworker who she had 5 sons. She has 5 sons, and she had them very quickly. Two of them is like 10 months or 11 months apart. So she had them very quickly, and they were when I met her, they were young boys. Now they're men, but they were young boys. And she, at an early age, she would send them to the supermarket in her area to make them go buy groceries and make a little money.
Mm-hmm.
They would buy groceries and take it to the car for people and things of that nature. Even yesterday, we were coming out of a store. Me and my husband, we had 3 bags. We were coming out of a store, and a young man, look could be anywhere between 16 and 16, I would say 15, 16. And it was only a stone's throw to the car, like here and there. And he said, "Can I help you with the bags?" And I said, "No." I said, "No, it's okay." And then by the time I turned, I was heading towards the car, and I saw him behind me coming with 2 of the bags. And when I looked, my husband waved to me and nod me and said, make him go on with
They
it.
can go on.
And
Yes.
he let him bring it the two and then come back and bring the other one. And he said, when we were in the car, he said, not for nothing, but he's standing up out there. He was very polite. He was very clean. And he
Mm-hmm.
was asking nicely, can he help you with your car, and can he help you with your bags? So he said, you don't know what household is coming from, but obviously
Yeah, the
he
situation.
needs to make, yes, so he said,
He
he
needs
just
to
help
make
you
some
to maintain.
money.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so that still works. But if you see a child coming in and they're rolling deep, as they would say,
Yes,
there's
yes.
something wrong with that picture.
Something is
Watch
wrong
that.
with that,
Yes.
and you're not asking where
Mhm.
they're getting it from.
Exactly.
They just, and this is
Yes.
the
And,
modern
and,
day.
and, and that's
This is
one
the
thing.
modern
And
day
then there's,
parenting.
yes. Another thing with the modern day parenting is the fact that when I was growing up, we never have no room for ourselves. We have to share room with somebody, either with your grandmother or your brother or whoever. Now, kids nowadays, they have their own room, especially in foreign countries. They can afford to have their own room, and them lock them door and in there doing what they want to do, and the parents don't know. And that's all
Mm-hmm.
that them get into trouble, because they're watching what they're not supposed to be watching, playing games they're not supposed to be playing, around the phone, saying things, doing things, and you don't know what they're in there doing. They're in
Yeah.
there building a bomb, and you don't know. So,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you have to check up on them when they come from school, check their school bag, check their
Yes.
room, look underneath their bed, see what's going on in their room. You
yeah,
can't just allow
yeah,
them to be adults because they have a
yeah,
room. You have to check.
Right.
That's
And
very
as long as
important.
the child is in your home, you're providing for them, there really is no privacy. Some of them will boldly
Yes.
tell their parents to come out of their room.
oh yeah,
It's my
Mhm.
private
slam door,
space.
and
And
slam
slam
door.
door. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I
they
was
slam
watching
Yeah.
a reel where
door.
the father took the door off the room. I don't know if it was
That's
something to
right.
teach, but yeah, the father took the door off the room. I said, all right, since you think you're a big man, I pay
No
for this
door.
out, and he take the door off the room. So
Yeah,
where's the privacy? Now you're not doing that, you can't lock up door anymore.
yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
you know what you do? You have to stay one step ahead of them.
Ahead. Yes.
You
At
know,
all
first,
times.
first to
At
begin
all
with,
times.
yeah, first to begin with, from their formative years, try to foster a good relationship with your child. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking from what I did. I made
Mm-hmm.
sure to foster a good relationship. I have a good relationship with both of my children. There is not they can't tell me about. I said, even if you're wrong, tell me.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Some children only tell the parent the good part, the
Mm-hmm.
good things
Yes.
they did. We know we are all prone and susceptible to do wrong things, to fall prey to
Mm-hmm.
whatever scheme and devices might be
Of
out there.
course.
So let them know that we know you're not going to be right all the time. If it's something you did that resulted in this treatment, or that being taken or whatever, still come. So when you foster that, when they get older,
Mm-hmm.
it's like you just fit same way.
Yes.
Yes.
You can relate to each other. But if you don't do that, and then also, if you not live no kind of exemplary life, it's not a do as I say, don't do as I do, which is sometimes what parents do.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Yeah.
blatantly doing the wrong thing and yet telling you. And you have had some children who say, "Oh, I've heard children, so my mother is a hypocrite, my father is a hypocrite because he said, don't do so and so." And yet, if it's something you're doing, say God forbid, you are in AA because you abuse alcohol, or you had a run
Yeah.
with drugs, or you say, "Look, don't be like me. This is what I
Mm-hmm.
did. Here is what I have to do on account of that." I get that. But if you're acting
Mm-hmm.
like, "Oh, everything is hunky dory with me," but you
Yeah.
don't want to be for real, when you are for real, and I'm talking about children now that are able to, that probably not them teens or sometimes them sitting in your house or them in them 20s, them not gone off yet. They
Yes.
have to try to stay, or let's dial it back, because if they're over 21, they're adults. So, responsibility, they don't do anything. But if you go back to say teenagers, you have to be able to stay a step ahead of them. You might not be able to best them in certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Stay ahead of them.
Right.
Like Max says, search their room with no apology. You
Of
have
course.
You're right.
You have every right.
I can't look.
Mm-hmm.
Look, you're paying for where they're staying. Look.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I've known parents to even search the child. Well, that gone too far, but you know, it's
Mm-hmm.
you have to stay a step ahead of them because you
Yes,
don't want
ma'am.
no surprises, and most times
Yes.
it's not a pleasant surprise you get. Anyhow,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Our topic this morning, Caribbean parenting. Did it make us or break us? And we're in the segment about modern day parenting. Now, no, you go up from here. Cancel. Okay, so let's now talk about silence as approval. Parents who don't ask questions because they don't want the answers.
mm-hmm.
As long as bills are paid, me no business.
Mm-hmm.
So is this modern or dangerous? How silence becomes a form of permission.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. Silent
Yep,
means consent, they always say.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
yep.
And here Paula is saying, Paula say, my granddaughter, her parents take off their room door.
All
Yes.
right.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
don't
they think
blame
them too
them.
big.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, the emotional cost on the child, children who feel pressured to keep providing, even if it means crossing lines, the guilt of being the breadwinner too early, the fear of disappointing parents who depend on them.
Yeah.
So, no matter what they do, then you have the community's role, neighbors and family who know but say nothing. Not my
Nothing, yeah.
business.
Yeah, but
None
Culture.
you
of
know what?
business.
But you
Does
know
it
what? That
protect or
sometimes,
destroy?
yeah, that comes sometimes from parents who don't want to hear anything about their
They
child.
push back. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So when a neighbor would say, "You know what? I saw Mary Jane over there, and I don't think she ought to have been there,"
Mm-hmm.
or whatever the case may be, because want to hear it, or you defend the child immediately. Granted, you're gonna have people who are meddlesome.
Yes.
you
Mm-hmm.
know I get that, but also, most of the time it's because the parents, they have their children on a pedestal to the point where you are not welcome, even as a relative. I'm not saying
Mm-hmm.
Right.
random people out there, but whether you live in a building, an apartment complex where you have neighbors nearby, or neighbors over the fence, or whatever the case may be, if you make it so that you don't, you are very aggressive and possessive, and and you are offended if
Mm-hmm.
they say your child is, did this or that. What if them have kids over there when you're not there, mashing up the place,
Yes, your place.
noise? Because that's one
Mm-hmm.
thing, and I'm talking about here. Jamaica, obviously, it's a little bit different. You have some parallel, but here, some parents don't want to hear it. So therefore, even when it's
No.
happening, the neighbors see,
Mm-hmm.
they will be quicker to call the police than
Mm-hmm.
to tell the
Then tell
parents.
the parents. True.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because I know it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
received. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Now,
yeah,
here mom is saying electronics raising children now, they talk to you a certain way. You have to wonder.
oh, that's
Yes. I have
another
no
story.
respect.
That is also, and here we are asking, did the form of parenting that people use, did it make us or break us? And all of what we are highlighting here, it's both good and bad. So
Yes.
if a child is on their device and there is no break time from it to go and do something
Mm-hmm.
or
That's no
participate
good.
in some activity, whether it's to learn to set the table, to just have conversations. I don't know if people are still dining at a table and talking with each other. That was a thing.
Yeah, but you know what
Yes.
happened? Some of the parents are themselves addicted to their devices.
That is true.
Even now, when
True.
you go
True.
out and you're at a restaurant
Everybody
and
head
you see a
down.
family, everybody head down and them in
Mhm.
a them. Nobody
Yeah.
looks up more than a second or two to acknowledge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
True.
sometimes the parent themselves are
Mhm.
addicted to the devices. You know, you give devices to the children. Of course, every family is going to be different. You have to deduce what age is appropriate for my
Appropriate.
child to have a device.
Yes.
And even then, you have to set some guardrails. You have to say, okay, it's shut down after this amount of time. Consistently, you may give you an hour or two. After that, your head must be up off of it.
Mhm.
You know,
Right.
you don't just stay there, but some parents are distracted. I remember I went to a baby shower one time, and one of the games that they were playing, and I said, I will not play this game. And they were like, why not? And I said, this is foolishness. The game was for you to the game was geared towards multitasking, right?
Mhm.
So you
Okay.
were given a certain amount of time, and in that time frame, you were supposed to you have the baby, can know the baby crying. So you're going to pick up the baby. You're on your cell phone. You're,
Mm.
you're making a meal, and
Mhm.
you're folding clothes.
Hmm.
And everybody who was, they were going table by table. And everybody was cradling the phone to their ear like this, holding the baby so, doing so. Some of the participants, them end up drop the baby, or
Yeah.
the most time, and not even the phone dropping, or the
A
baby drop,
baby.
or
Yeah.
the
Baby.
situation of the food drop, or so. So when they came to my table, I said, this is foolishness. I said, I'm an old-fashioned parent. I said, first to begin with, you have a child. We're talking about, we are giving pointers to the mother to be, because it's a shower.
Mhm.
And you're going
Right.
to you're on the phone. I said, ain't nothing going to come before you take it. Your child's supposed to get 100% of your
Mhm.
attention.
Attention.
You ain't
Mhm.
nothing. Nobody you should be talking to the phone on. You put the phone down and you attend to the child. That's what. So all of that is a whole different species of parenting we're raising right now, because they're taught to multitask. And nothing wrong with multitasking, but sometimes you have to
Mhm.
let common sense prevail. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
Yes,
have parents who
absolutely.
are addicted to their devices, so them can't tell the children. It hurts my heart when I see a small child in a stroller, and then prop up the phone or the tablet at the
Mhm.
foot of the stroller and the picnic. You're having the child is not even looking to the side to say, oh, there's a blade of grass, oh, there's a tree, oh, is that a
Right.
flower? You're not
Mhm.
even like do that, because the picnic sit down and watch the tablet while you are yik yik yak yak
The
yak
whole time.
and the whole time. And you
Mhm.
raise them like
Mhm.
that. Like mom just said, the electronics is what's raising the children. So right now they're saying there's a deficit with children who they reach a certain age, they can't even hold a conversation.
Conversation.
It is like
Yeah.
speak to
Yes.
another human being. All they do
Mhm.
is interact off of what they're looking at.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yesterday I had an experience. We were shopping normally. We were in Walmart doing grocery shopping, and a little boy, probably about 8 or 10, thereabouts, was pushing the trolley. The mother was in front, and he was pushing out the cart behind her with the grocery. And the hands aren't that wide, so it must have hit some woman who was there checking. She was at the register checking her stuff, and they caught the card must have hit her. And it just a was pass go like no. So the
Oh
mother
wow.
Mhm.
realized that the lady must have responded, and the mother turned around and said, you have to tell her sorry. Go back and tell her you're sorry. And him turn around and say, I'm sorry. When I
Mhm.
said it, I said that's a good mother. Some parents
Yes.
would have go like kind of nothing. Some parents
Right.
would
Oh
have behave
yeah.
as if when you do that, so you shouldn't be standing there, But
Oh
she
yeah.
ordered him to tell the lady that he's sorry.
Mm-hmm.
because he
Right,
bumped her with the cart.
Yes.
right.
So you know, so
And,
they are the good ones.
mm-hmm,
Oh
mm-hmm.
yeah, oh yeah. There are good ones out there.
And we're wrapping up in a minute. Evol is asking, parents also never apologize. Is that still a thing?
I don't think that's still a thing. We never got many apologies in our time
Back then, in our time,
back
yeah.
then. But
Apologize. We don't never
yeah,
hear
but
that.
now, yeah, because you have to talk the talk and walk the walk. If you want the child to apologize, they have to at least have a reference point to say, well, dad apologized for such and such. Because sometimes my daughter was telling me the other day, she was apologizing to her little one, the little
Mm-hmm.
9-year-old one, because he came and she was doing something or other, and she had said, wait or whatever, but he was so excited about what he had to share, and she had kind of
Mm-hmm.
snapped at him a little bit, and he was a little deflated.
Okay.
And she said after she got
Yeah.
done, she went to him and said, I apologize, I shouldn't have done that, but I told you to hold on because I was in the middle of such and such and such. So people
Mm-hmm.
still do apologize. But if you're going to ask,
Mm-hmm.
give the child a point of reference to say, well, mommy apologize, or dad had apologized at least once in my lifetime. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
we're not always
Yes.
right. Sometimes we're wrong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, this is a loaded question, but we know that there are people who are really going through in their adult life, um,
Hmm.
based on their experiences with how they were parented.
Yeah.
And, whenever we have these discussions, we hope that there is some hope that is given to our viewers, that
Mm-hmm.
change can take place. If you had a very negative experience, bad, you can make the choice to say, although this is how they treated me when I was growing up, I will not do the same,
No,
Right.
right? I'll not do the same to
you
my
don't have to
children.
carry it on. No.
No, you
Mm-mm.
don't have to carry it forth. Here, good morning, Jenny. Very blessed Saturday to you. Good morning, Lovey. And mom is saying, we thought it was hurtful how our parents raised us. But looking back, it gave us the lessons how to raise our children. That's why it bothers us the direction our grandchildren are going.
Oh yeah. And
Hmm.
that's a whole not as a grandmother myself, that's a whole nother hurt.
Yes.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
grateful to God that I have a good relationship with mine, but I know some grandparents, of my age and older, who, they would love to be able to have a hand
Mm-hmm.
in the upbringing of their grandchildren. And when I say a hand, I don't mean they're going to take over from the parents. They're not going to take over, but on account of the fact of how they had raised their children, there's
Mm-hmm.
some resentment there, or not even sometimes it's resentment. It's a case where their children now think that that was ancient, the
Agent.
way you raised me,
Yes.
ancient,
Mm-hmm.
that we didn't have
Mm-hmm.
this, we didn't have that, but now we have it. So therefore, my children will have it, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
However, you see, the elders, we
Mm-hmm.
cannot, they are the roots.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
cannot forget the roots.
That is right.
As long as you are able, long as they are
Mm-hmm.
within, and even if they are far away, have your children maintain some amount of, or some form of relationship with their grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
It's
it's
good for
important.
the
Yes.
grandparents, their psyche, emotionally is good for them. It's also good for the grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
I admire the Asian people because the grandparents play a pivotal role in the children's lives. They will sit down and be the nannies and the babysitters, the caregivers to these children. And they
Mm-hmm.
teach them their culture, the north, the recipes, the beliefs, everything they get to give to these children. Because if you don't give them yours, they're gonna take somebody else's own.
Yes.
Of course.
Absolutely.
They're gonna take it.
Yes.
So
Mm-hmm.
grandparenting that's a whole nother animal altogether. Because sometimes the children, they just want their parents out of the grandchildren's lives, or they just see them, kiss them up 2 times, and that's it. No,
Not
somebody I
more.
somebody I went to high school with. As a matter of fact, she became pregnant right before our graduation. We literally had to hide her so she could graduate because she was pregnant and it was becoming
Oh.
visible, and we had to hide her so she
Mm-hmm.
could graduate because school in Jamaica is strict. You're pregnant, you're
Yes,
done, you're
yes,
out.
you're out.
But she was able to graduate and she had the child. So her daughter, and we all graduated high school at around 17 years old. So she's only 17 years older than her daughter, right?
Mm.
And they live here now, been here for many years. And now her daughter is no, that daughter is no, she never had any other children. That was it. But her daughter now is having children, and she called me very furious because the daughter, she said, in as much as she put out for her, in as much as she gave up a lot of her years for her, granted, she went and got her early. Hey, it
Mm-hmm.
happened. But now that when the daughter dropped her kids to her, for her to hold so that she can go away for a weekend, or her and her husband can go for a movie night or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
she brings a list of things she ought not to do.
Uh-oh.
Because she's
Hey.
not giving, yeah, she said, imagine that. She's not giving her free reign to say, well, this is my mother. I trust her with you guys. She said, well, look, if it's a case where the child has an allergy
Allergy. I
and
was about to say that.
remember
Right. Yes.
running nuts,
Mm-hmm.
something of that nature. But no, she's telling her, don't give her this, don't give her that, don't this. Maybe the child sit down and write out a whole page of
Mm-hmm.
the don'ts for her mother.
Mm-hmm.
And she was not happy. So she said, well, if I have to abide by all this, then don't bring them over here.
That's right.
Because if you have the impulse to say, well, let me tell you about Dandy Shandy, it might be on the list. Do not teach her about Lord of
No.
mercy. I tell you, we are
Mm-mm.
Oh
complex,
God.
complex
Yes.
people.
Yes, yes.
Very
So we're
complex.
wrapping up. Jen says the upbringing and lessons I learned from my mother is what keeps me standing today. Thank you, Jen.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
If you'd like to subscribe, go to where you're right on our YouTube channel. So you can, those of you who are on right now, please tap on the like button. Tap on the like button, all of you, if you've not yet done so. Please tap on the like button. And to subscribe, you can just tap the word subscribe, and then you tap all, and you'll see the bell, and you'll get all the notifications when we go live right
Yeah.
here at Voices with Lady D. But I believe we covered so much today.
We
Some of our
tried.
topics are like so rounded, but we try. But also, we have to break the cycle. So, how do
Mhm.
we teach children that worth isn't tied to money? How do parents rebuild trust and boundaries? What does
Mhm.
healthy support looks like in 2026? And
Mhm.
if you're going through difficulties raising your children, you can find someone in the faith, someone you trust in your community, maybe a family member, a friend, just to share. Because if it's going downhill, you're not doing very well.
Mhm.
Yep.
And I know that there are parents who are fearful of their children. Your
Yes.
children have actually said they are going to harm you.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
fear has taken a hold of you.
Mhm.
And that is why parents of yesteryear will tell you that no picnic will ever look at me or could a look at me and tell
Mhm.
me to shut up or tell me that they're going to lick me down. That
Yeah.
would not happen.
Yeah,
Hey, you're mad. You
You
couldn't
know what
even
though?
think it.
Yeah, you can think it, but you won't keep it to yourself. The
Mhm.
thing is, in
Then
this
those way I
country,
think it, then beat you for thinking it.
yeah,
Right.
I
Yeah.
know of a family right now where it has come to fisticuffs, as they would say,
Mm.
and
Mm-hmm.
there is no restraining order.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Parent
Mm-mm.
against child, you
Child,
can't come
child.
within X amount of feet,
Yeah.
and then sometimes the threats have been made, and parents grow fearful. And there are
Mm-hmm.
also times when there was no threat, but yet
Mm-hmm.
the parent got killed. Somebody I went to high school with, may her soul rest in peace, dear friend of mine, she was killed by her son,
Mm-mm.
you know,
Mm-mm.
here. And
Mm-hmm.
he was the only child, and he
Yeah.
got to a certain age
Mm-hmm.
where he thought, well, he now has a girlfriend and he wants to move her in.
Oh.
And they said that you can't move her in here. And it resulted in him killing both mother and father,
Mm-mm. Oh.
Locks.
because
Yeah.
he moved her in anyway. And
Mm-hmm.
when they found out, because their house is what they call a farmhouse style house here. When you go in, it has two levels, and his bedroom was on the first level with living area, kitchen, and so on, and then they're on the upper level.
Mm-hmm.
And so he moved her in, and they were just coming and going. And so if when they come in and they're upstairs, they don't know what's going on downstairs. When they
Down.
found out that the girl had been living there, moved in lock, stock, and barrel, they had a conversation with him, and they said, well, look, we told you that we don't do that. If you're old enough. At the time, I believe he may have been, the girl was 18. They told him they're in prison right now. So she was
Mm-hmm.
18, he was, I think, 20 at the time. And so
Mm-mm.
they said, well, you're just gonna have to go. And
Isn't
they
that
said,
a very unfortunate? Nobody won in the whole thing.
nobody.
See?
And
Mm-mm.
it got into a discussion, a heated discussion, and they left the home. And she told the father to change the locks, and he was in the process of changing the locks, and they came back and shot them both and killed them.
Mm-mm.
That's
My poor
crazy.
friend,
Jeez.
yeah,
Mm.
just gone, just so.
You see that though?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it
Mm.
it's it it can be very detrimental.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible. Yeah.
And there was a video that was being circulated at last year too, or a year before, with I don't know if he was 12 years old or what, a boy who destroyed his mother's apartment or house. I don't know if you guys saw it. Destroyed it, broke up toilet, mashed up sink, mashed up our computer for your job, mash up the floor. It just destroyed the whole house. Somebody videotaped it, and it was on social media. I was welling up with tears watching it, seeing
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just because the mother took away his phone and wouldn't give it
Mm-hmm.
to him. Take
Mm-hmm.
away
Because
his phone and he mashed up the whole house, whole place. Computer, TV, break it. I mean, destroyed and repair. The sink in the
wow.
bathroom, the tub crack, everything.
Mm. Yeah, sometimes it's quite volatile. I know one such family who the man in the home was not the child's father, so it was her stepfather, but he was a good stepfather to her and her mom. And she came here and she started running around, bad company, peer pressure on blast, as they would say, all over the place. And the mother kept warning her, and she told the mother, she said, look, you can't do such and such to me, because this is foreign, and you can't do it, because if you ever try to discipline me or take away my stuff, I'm going to call the cops, and I'm going to tell them my stepfather is molesting me, and they're going to come
Lord
and lock him
Jesus.
up, and they're going to lock you up. She had an
Mm-hmm.
entire story, an whole alibi set up to tell her mother, if you try to discipline me and don't let me wear
Mm-hmm.
this, and you don't let me go where I want to go, I'm going to call the cops and tell them my stepfather, they're going to lock him up, and they're going to do such and such to you, because I watch the news and I see what's going on. So the
Yeah, and
mother,
learn the system.
yeah, the mother had to take her time, as they would say, you hang in a tiger mouth or a lion mouth, take time, dry it out. The mother had to let her be. And when she think it was peace and safety, the mother said, let's go down for a vacation and thing, and get her behind. Pardon me for saying it this way. Get her back down a yard there, and
Mm-hmm.
left her down there.
Uh-huh.
She said, you don't come up here after me take you. You come up here, you have all that concocted.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
she kept
Mhm.
all your papers, everything, and left her down there. Said, stay where you were. With a very
Yes.
sick aunt that she had to take care. She said, you stay there, 'cause you can't farm food with your auntie. She had the
Mm-hmm.
whole thing cooked up. because she thought, oh, up here now I'm on easy street. I'm gonna
Yes.
do this, I'm
Yes.
gonna do that, and you dare not speak
You
to
see,
me.
they come and learn the system and realize what can be done
Exactly.
and start
Yes.
comparing.
Exactly.
Isn't that
Exactly.
something? Eval
That's
says,
very
we
sad.
were humbly raised with godly principles. I still pray the same prayers I heard my mother prayed when I was little. Jen says, children today are not, they believe parents must do what they do, not like us when we were growing up. We were appreciative and respectful to our parents. Most of these children today are not. And that is so true.
Hmm.
So, as
That's
we
a
wrap
fact.
up today, Caribbean parents have always wanted the best for their children.
Yes.
But wanting the best can never mean accepting the worst.
Mm.
Hmm.
When we turn the blind eye because we benefit, we lose the very thing we're trying to protect, our
Mm.
children's future.
Hmm.
Let's choose a
True.
different path. Let's raise them with strength, with truth, and with love that doesn't put them at risk. But most importantly, with God.
Yep. And let me add,
Amen.
let me
Amen.
add a little footage to that. We are the bridge generation. So honoring our parents, we're honoring what they did in their clumsy misunderstandings or however we've interpreted it as.
Mm-hmm.
Because we get more knowledge now and we realize that they could have done this way and not that way. But in honoring our parents, let's honor them while we are doing better for the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
So the parenting we got, it didn't make us or break us. It shaped us. And now we have to decide what we're gonna carry forward, what aspects of how we were raised.
Raised.
We
Mm-hmm.
can pick the bitter out of the sweet and say, okay, that part I wasn't so good. So let me not perpetuate that, but let
Yeah.
me
Yes.
incorporate this over here.
Mm-hmm.
Because they weren't all wrong. And we may have got hard
No.
knocks and licks we didn't deserve. But here we are,
Yes.
So it's
Mm-hmm.
for us to pass that on in the hopes that they now pass that also on
Of
while
course.
improving on what we were
Yes.
close with, put it that way.
Thank you. And your final comments, Maxie?
And I want to say is that though life does not come with a lesson book or parenting book, I just want to say put all the positive pieces that you know and have knowledge of together in raising your kid or your grandkid. Thank you.
All righty. We
All
thank
right.
everyone for tuning in today. Thanks to co-producer and those who are here with us. And we hope you pass the link on. I posted the link in the comment section for you to like. If you're not yet a subscriber, you can like this program by giving it the thumbs up. You can share this present link that you're watching with someone you know, and you can subscribe by tapping that link in the comment section. And we hope to see you, God willing, next week to do it all over again. We miss Jacqui today, but she'll be
Oh
back.
yeah.
Thanks
I
to,
would have I would have loved to hear some of the free hill escapades.
right? And to everyone who posted in the chat, thank you. And help us to build Voices with Lady D, where every voice has power. This has been another edition of Satideh Mawnin Runnings, where culture meets conversation. Have yourselves a great weekend, everybody. And as we say, we love you, no? So, ladies, start your line.
Yes, well, me I go
May I
in
can go
as
around.
usual.
Okay.
May
And
I can go around.
I'm left to do the brunt of it. Me a go on round, galang round, go down, go on so, go cross so, go on in. Hey,
Go on in.
lot of love and blessings, everybody. See you next week.
Caribbean
Okay,
family,
bye.
gather round this Saturday at 10 a.m. The Saturday Morning Runnings crew, Sherns, Max, Jacqui, and Lady D is going live with a topic that touches every single one of us. Caribbean parenting. Did it make us or break us? From the love to the licks, the discipline to the pressure, the pride to the pain. We're unpacking the childhood stories that shaped who we are today. We want your truth, your laughter, your memories, the sweet, the sour, and the Lord, me can't believe that happened. Don't miss it. Jump on the YouTube live stream right here. YouTube at Voices with Lady D. Set your reminder and tell a friend. 10 a.m. sharp, Satideh Mawnin Runnings is on. Welcome to Voices with Lady D, where every voice has power. I'm your host, Lady D Denise Gomez Green, inviting you to join me each week for real conversations, powerful stories, and uplifting perspectives that shine a light on voices from the community and the diaspora. Kick off your week with the Monday Drive from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Dive deep on Thursdays with Center Stage from 6 to 8 p.m. And ease into your weekend with Satideh Mawnin Runnings every Saturday at 10 a.m. Catch Voices with Lady D on YouTube, Caribbean Vibes Radio Network online and YouTube, and Fit FM 96.7 in Stuart Castle, Trelawney, Jamaica, or tune in on Linkage Radio online. So lock in, turn it up, and remember, every voice has power. This is Voices with Lady D. Celebrate the heartbeat of Caribbean culture with Satideh Mawnin Runnings. Join us on Saturday at 10 a.m. on YouTube as we showcase the vibrant heritage of Jamaica and the wider Caribbean with 4 incredible women: Sherns, Max, Jacqui, and yours truly, Lady D. From powerful stories to cultural traditions, we're bringing the flavor, rhythm, and excellence of the Caribbean straight to you. It's more than a show. It's a celebration of the roots and traditions that inspire and unite us. Subscribe to Voices with Lady D on YouTube and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn to stay connected. Every Saturday at 10 a.m., it's Satideh Mawnin Runnings. Come feel the vibes. Satideh Mawnin Runnings, where Caribbean heritage comes alive.